So from the title alone, I'm sure a lot of people will already figure out what lens I'm going to be talking about. It was mass produced in the 1950s and 1960s, and because of that the price is still very low. You can get it for, if not under, $60, which is absolutely incredible considering the movies this lens has been used on. I'm talking of course about the Helios 44-2. It's a 58mm f2 lens that was developed in the Soviet Union. And you can definitely notice they cheaped out compared to size when you do this. Not all of them have great build quality. Some of them are great, but the vast majority of them suck. That doesn't mean the image that comes out of it does as well. Quite the contrary, the image that comes out of this lens is stunning. And because of this, it has been used in a couple Hollywood productions recently. The Batman and Dune Part 2. Both films shot by Greig Fraser, and they look amazing. Of course they use a rehoused version for the cinema workflow they have, which is more like $2,000 instead of $60. But you don't need that if you're an indie filmmaker like me. Now obviously what sets this lens apart is not the build quality, it's not the sharpness either. It's not sharp at all actually, it's quite soft. But because of that, it's quite nice on digital sensors. It gives this nice roll off to your sharpness on your image, which creates this very cinematic look. But the thing that makes this lens very popular and wanted is its characteristics. See, one of the side effects by cheaping out on the design is that it has some weird defects that back in the day were not very much wanted. I'm talking of course about the extreme cat eye bokeh. This refers to a more commonly known term, swirly bokeh. The bokeh swirls around the center of the image. The more you go out towards the edges, the more it becomes compressed into a little cat's eye that's bent, making it seem like the image is swirling around your subject or around the center of the image. Now these days, it's actually very much desired to have these kinds of artifacts because all lenses are engineered pretty much to perfection. They look so good. There's no character in it anymore. And that's why filmmakers are flocking to these kinds of lenses. Old glass that has defects. And one of the other big defects it has is it has a lot of volume. With that I mean the way it flares up. As soon as the sun hits this lens, it creates this volumetric fog all over your image. And also you get these beautiful rainbow flares on your image every once in a while. And they look absolutely amazing. Besides that, it has beautiful contrast and color rendition. The contrast is quite low, it makes your image look quite flat. But because of that you have a nice roll off into the highlights and into the shadows, which adds another layer of this filmic quality to your images. Now the color rendition is super warm. As soon as the sunlight falls into your lens, you can see this warm volumetric flare falling over your image, this haze, and it just makes you feel connected with the subject that you're shooting. So obviously a lot of people know about this lens. I just wanted to talk about it because some people might not. Some people might be scared away by the fact that it's a vintage lens from the 1950s, 1960s. The build quality kind of sucks, but the image is worth it. And if you can get a nice version of it, which has a nicer build quality, you will not have these weird defects. So this lens is obviously not for professional client work unless they want the cinematic image, unless you want to capture character. So for example, a documentary or short film or something else that's narrative. It will amplify the emotional quality of that by a lot. It has found its way not only into the kit of a lot of filmmakers, but also into our hearts. It's just one of those lenses that speaks to you when you use it. That's recognizable when you see it, and that just creates a beautiful image no matter what you point it at. That was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I just wanted to share a little bit about this lens, and I will see you all next week once more.